Yerushalayim Noah. First question is, we know when Noah is on the teva, and then the rain stops, and the water is just sitting, and he's floating there. After a year, he's allowed to go out, but first he sends the birds. And so he sends the raven didn't do his job. He sends the dove, the yonah, and eventually the yonah comes with aleh zayit taraf b'fiyah, with an olive leaf, or olive branch, some people say, but aleh is a leaf. And so the question number one, why the olive branch? Why the olive leaf, dafka specifically? Why? And even if that happened, Michelle, you want to sit down? Even if that happened, why does the Torah have to go out of its way to tell us it was an olive? What's so important? Just say it was a leaf. It was bitter. So you have the classic. That's a Gemara. Good. Gemara says the dove said, "I'd rather have something bitter from you, Hashem." That's nice. Okay, good. But I want to stick with the question and see if I can maybe. I have another explanation. I don't know if you're gonna like it, but we'll try it. And then the second one is what I spoke about Friday night. If you're here Friday night, Noah, he comes out of the teva. He's the new Adam Harishon. He's the new Adam. And he comes out, he offers his sacrifices. By the way, olot. It says straight out in the Torah, olot, completely burnt offerings. No one had a shilamim until, according to Rabbi Victor Miller, until us in Pesach. Come on, Pesach. Shilamim, which means no human being would dare eat the food of God. You sacrifice something to God, you're eating it. You crazy? It's all for God. Olah is completely burnt offering. So Noach made olot, completely burnt offerings. And actually, that's the halakha l'ma'aseh. Non-Jews, when we have the temple, are allowed to bring korbanot. We're not like, we don't shun the non-Jews. They're welcome to come to the temple also, but they bring korban olah, complete burnt offerings. Only us sometimes bring shilamim, which we could eat part of it. It's like, if you think about it, it's nuts. How do you eat sacrifice to God? After the korbanot, what happened? Someone hurt your feelings? Oh. After the korbanot, he plants wine. He plants vayitat kanem. He plants a vineyard, and he becomes drunk. And he's rolling around naked, drunk in his tent, which I spoke about Friday night in shul. It's a crazy thing. A crazy thing. Everybody asks this, and I know they make fun of Noah, and they say, he really wasn't a real tzaddik. Noah, he's tzaddik. I mean, he was a great person. Whether he's a lot greater than anyone here, that's for sure. Whether he wasn't as great as Avraham Avinu, I mean, okay, he wasn't the Hall of Famer. He wasn't Michael Jordan, but he was still a great player. Noah was an amazing person. So what is he getting drunk for like this? And the Gemara says he should have planted something else. She says he should have planted something else. The Gemara says he should have planted wheat maybe. Wheat is where people need to live. Why are you going straight to the wine? And so with those two questions, I want to read you something that I find fascinating, and this will be question number 3. Tell me if you ever heard this before. The Gemara in Bava Metzia talks about a lot of the cases, monetary cases between people. Here comes. The Gemara talks about different cases between people, and here's one. Tell me if you guys ever heard this in your life, okay? You listening? Tell me if you ever heard this in your life, okay? Gemara says, the Mishnah says, if someone gave money to buy something, let's say you go to a store, and how much is it for these tefillin boxes? And it says $200, and you give them the $200, and then you want to change your mind. No, give it back. Are you allowed to do that? You didn't take the product yet. According to halakha, the $200, I cancel the deal. And he says, no, you're not canceling the deal. I have your 200 already. So I don't have the product. You didn't deliver the product. Or the opposite case, you give the guy the 200, and all of a sudden the seller realizes it's too good of a deal. He says, never mind. Take back the 200. No, I don't want it back. Give me the product. Are you allowed to do this? Yeah? It's definitely not completed the sale. So the answer is as follows. Mashach hemenu perot velo natan lo maot. If you took the product, so again, you're in the store, there's all sorts of variables. You can use your imagination. You took the product, but you didn't pay. You paid, but you didn't take the product. All the same. Half of the transaction is complete. So you're in the store, you pick up the item, and you say, I want this. But you didn't pay yet, and you have a deal. And so he's like, okay, how much is 200? I want to do the deal. And then before you give him the money, you say, no, I don't want to do the deal anymore. Eno yachol lahazor bo. No, not that one, this case. Natan lo ma'ot. You gave the money, v'lo mashachim lo pirot, but you didn't take the stuff yet. Yachol lahazor bo, like Anna said, you can take it back, you can cancel the transaction because it's not complete. Abal amru, but the rabbis say, mi shepara me'anshei dor mabul. The rabbis proclaim a curse on you. For canceling transactions, the rabbis proclaim a curse, and this is the words of the curse. Mi shepara me'anshei dor mabul. The one who paid back, punished the generation of the flood, umidora pelaga, and the generation of the Tower of Babel, the disbursement of the 70 nations, who atili para, he is also going to pay back in a bad way, mimi she'eno omed b'diburo, someone who doesn't keep his word, and then you can cancel the transaction if you still want to. Now, the Gemara says, that's the Mishnah. The Gemara says, later on, I'll read you Rambam. Halakha l'ma'aseh. This is Rambam. Rambam says, Mishin atana damim, someone who paid money. Halakha. V'lo mashacha pira, but you didn't take the fruit yet, or the product. Afa pi shelo niknu hamitaltalin, even though you didn't take it yet. Timoshi bi'anu, kol ha'hozer bo, whoever retracts it, whichever one retracts it, ben lokeach ben moched, whether it's the seller or it's the buyer, lo asa ma'aseh Yisrael. You just did something that's not a Jewish thing. It's not a Jewish thing to cancel your deal. V'hayav lekabel mi shepara, and now you are obligated to receive the curse of mi shepara. That's what the curse is called, mi shepara, the one who paid back. V'afilu natan hanebon v'kesad mikabel mi shepara, says Rambam. What is this curse of mi shepara? How does it work? Orerin oto bebetin. We bring him to court. Imagine the storekeeper brings you to court because you canceled your deal. I gave you the car, you paid for the car, and then right when I'm about to deliver the car to your house, you said, I don't want the car anymore. I take you to Betin, and Betin says to you, you want to do the cancel? He says, yes, I want to cancel. Okay, hold on 1 second. Orino tovenu, we say in Betin, Mi shepara me'anshei ador mabu, o me'anshei ador apelaga, o me'anshei sedom me'amora, o me'mitzrayim shetavu bayam. All these bad people, whoever paid them all back, he should also pay you back the same way like them, because you're not keeping your word. After that, cancel the deal if you still want to cancel the deal. Oh, what a heavy price to pay for canceling a deal. And the Gemara goes so far, to say, Rabbi Yohanan, he sold salt. That was his industry. He was a salt merchant, S-A-L-T, salt. He sells salt. And he had 2 customers prepay for salt, and overnight the prices of salt soared in the market, and now his salt is worth, let's say, 10 times what it was yesterday. So he doesn't want to sell it to them for the price of yesterday, and so he tells these guys, cancel the deal. I don't want to sell you the salt, but we already paid the deposit. I'll give you back the deposit. The rabbis went to Rabbi Yohanan. They said, Rabbi Yohanan, are you crazy? Are you seriously prepared to take the curse of Mishipara? And he answered them. He says, I would never take the curse of Mishipara. I'm just taking a shot that they would agree to cancel it. And if they don't agree, I'm going to give them the salt. I'll never take the curse. You have to actually, yeah, I mean, you have to follow through. He wasn't going to follow through, he said. He was going to actually deliver it. He was taking a shot. I want to cancel it. And if they agree, fine. That's a heavy curse. By the way, this is a crazy halakha. Be careful if you ever pay a deposit for something and change your mind, or if someone pays you a deposit for something and you want to change your mind and not do the deal. Your word is your word. And so my question is, I understand Misha Paramidora Mabul. These guys did Hamas. They cheated each other. That's a good example. Just like Sedom, Dora Mabul were cheaters, so too you're a cheater. Dora Pelaga is cheaters. Dora Pelaga, the Tower of Babel, what do they have to do with cheating on money? They didn't keep their word. What does that have to do with anything? Give me the curse of the Mabul. You're acting like the people of Mabul. I'm not acting like the people in Babel. The people in Babel built the tower. What they do? So I have three questions. Question number one: is there more to the olive than you said? Something about the olive and the bird. Question number two: why did Noah immediately go and plant wine and get drunk? And question number three: what is going on with this Mishya Para by the daughter Mabul and the daughter Pelaga with the crazy curse associated with the tower? And I want to try to answer these three questions. And this is my idea basically, and so you don't have to like it. You can tell me if you like it or not. So there's one thing I want to show. There's a Gemara. It's actually a Mishnah in Tamid. Listen to this Mishnah. The Gemara says, the Mishnah in Tamid talks about the way they did the sacrifices in the Beit HaMikdash every. And the Mishnah says, Kol ha'etzim, all wood, kesherim, the all types of wood is okay to burn on the altar. They have piles, huge piles of wood on the altar. Every day they're constantly buying, and the piles of ash every single day they clean out the ashes, right? Trumat addition, right? Kol ha'etzim, kesherim the all the wood types are kosher. Fruits, except for two types of wood. Michel Geffen, grape wood, I guess you want to call it wood, grapevine wood, is not allowed to be burnt on the altar. Beshel Zayit, and of oil, of olive. Olive wood cannot go on the Beit HaMikdash in the altar either. These are the two things. The dove brought the olive, and Noah plants the Geffen. And I want to try to make an association here. Why are these two woods not allowed to be burnt on the altar? And so the Gemara explains this, and the Gemara says all the woods are allowed to be burnt besides for these two. Why? The Gemara says, what do you want? Oh, you don't want the wrapper? Is that good enough? Says the Gemara. My Tama, what's the reason? Papa Amar Mishum de Katri. Because these two types of wood have knots in them. Knots. They're knotty. And so what does that mean? It's a question from the Mifashim. Either A, it doesn't burn very well when there's knots in the wood, or B, it makes too much smoke, or C, it makes too much ashes. But there's another answer about Havar Yaakov Amar Mishum Yishuv de Eretz Israel. Because these two trees, so to speak, are required for the sustenance of the future of the land of Israel. We need olive trees and we need grapevines in Israel. And if we allow you to burn the wood on the Beit HaMikdash, then there's not going to be any trees left. You're going to kill the species. We have to make sure of all the trees. You can kill the other trees if you want to burn them. Don't you ever waste olive trees and grapevines. We need the fruit for the people who live in Israel. Unbelievable answer. Even though it's Beit HaMikdash, no. And interesting also. I didn't think about that. Something very special about the byproducts of these two trees. Very interesting. And so Rambam actually brings this halakha l'maaseh as well. The Rambam says over here, Kol ha'etzim hadashim keshrim l'ma'araka. All of the new woods are allowed to be burnt on the altar. V'lo hayom mivim mishel zayit v'lo mishum gefen. But the olive and the wine, no. Why? And he holds from the second answer. Mishum Yishuv Eretz Israel. Because we need these trees for the citizens of Israel. And so I want to say the following. Tell me if you agree. Noah is in the Teva, and there's nothing but destruction all around. For a whole year, destruction. He has no idea what's left. Hashem is angry, and he just got rid of everything. Imagine Noah's mindset when he sees the dove come back, and what's in the dove's beak? The olive branch, the olive tree. And he says to himself, maybe this is something that's a yishuv type of a tree. He didn't just find any stam tree that you can burn for firewood. He found a tree. Hashem made sure to keep trees in the world that's yishuv, that's required, a necessity for the people to live. So he still loves us. Hashem still loves the people enough that there's olive trees. Because there are two trees that we need them to live. We need wine and we need oil. So Noah probably, I want to say, is so excited when there's aleta, and the Torah goes out of its way to say, yeah, he took an olive branch. This is a very specific tree. We don't waste these trees. We need them. That's so much so that he's probably maybe thinking to himself the whole time, what about the other one? I wonder if there's any grapes, because those are the two things. Everything else you can just burn if you want to burn. And he comes out of the teva and he plants the other one. And so now we have Noah's job is now we got to make sure we have the Yishuv. And he was on Hare Ararat. So he's in Israel. I have to make sure the two trees that are required for civilization in Eretz Israel down the road, these two are needed. We can't ruin it. Yeah, you have something? He brought it with him. He brought it with him. And so maybe that's why he brought it with him. The Zohar. The Zohar says he brought it with him. The Zohar says he brought the grapevine with him to plant. Yeah? Yeah, he brought it from Gan Eden, so maybe the Zohar says. Huh? He brought it with him on the Teva to plant the whole time. And so at the end of the day, he probably felt really good about himself. We have olive, we have grape. We're good. Everything was destroyed. He didn't know. He didn't know it was destroyed or not. I don't know. Maybe he didn't know. Everything else could be ruined. I don't know if the trees, I don't know what it looked like. It says the soil was turned over. Maybe not in Israel. I don't know. But maybe it was his, maybe he was trying to think, it's my job to make sure Yishuv Ha'olam is going to happen. These are the two. And so maybe that's why with the olive check, the wine check. Now he ended up getting drunk on the wine and ruined everything. And we'll address that in 1 second. There's any trivia question. I'm looking at you. Ruin. Who? Hashem or Noah? Me, I don't know. We don't know what he did. Oh, by planting, he got drunk, and he paid a heavy price. He was either castrated or he was raped, according to the rabbis. So he woke up according to just the Bible. He woke up and he knew his son did something. It doesn't say what his son did, but it wasn't pretty because he cursed him. So it was not good either way. Yeah, but he said I know, but immediately right after that, why did he curse him for? I mean, how would someone who doesn't believe in the rabbi, like a Christian, how would they interpret this? He's the new Adam. And so he also, his son, the same thing. But let's talk about that in 1 second. Here's a trivia question. Where else in the Torah, besides for the Navi, the typical Navi, Haftarah, Hime Noah, where else do you see Noah in the prophets? They talk about Noah. Remember this one? If you turn to Ezekiel, chapter 14, he's talking about how the Jewish people have left Hashem and have gone off the path. Ben Adam, as he says, you have broken the ways. Says in Yehezkel, very easy to remember this. Ezekiel 14:14. There were three guys, says in Yehezkel, there were three guys, Noah, Daniel, Ve'iyov. Noah, Daniel, and Eiyov, each of them were like against the whole generation they were in. Daniel was like the only guy in the whole generation Nebuchadnezzar who stood up to him. Eiyov was, if it was true what happened, he was the only goy that was doing it. And Noah. Hema, Bisidkatam, Inatzilu Nafsham. In their righteousness, they saved themselves. This is Yehezkel. Did you know Yehezkel talked about this? They saved themselves, huh? Abraham saved more people than just themselves. These are people who only save themselves. Says Hashem, if these three men are amongst the midst of the people, I swear, they will not save anyone. They'll only save themselves. And so basically, the prophet's trying to tell the people, you have sinned so much. Even if you have these three people, I'm still not. I'm not going to save you. And he says over and over. He keeps, by the way, over and over again. These three guys are not going to do it. Noach, Daniel, Eov, again. Even if you have these three guys in your midst, I'm not going to save you. What I find interesting here is right after this, I'm reading Yehezkel 14. Yehezkel 15. Hashem spoke to me and said, Ben Adam, son of man, my etz hagefen is unbelievable. I actually emailed, Tovi Singer? I emailed him on Thursday and asked him if he agrees with my pshat here on Yehezkel. Because right after saying, even if you had Noach with you, I won't save you, he says, Ben Adam, ma etz hagefen mikol etz hazemora? What is the benefit of wine wood, of grape wood, from all other types of wood? That's in the forest. Can you use grape wood for any work? Can you hang something? Can you make furniture from grape wood? Can you even burn grape wood? Can you even burn grape wood? It says that you can't even burn it. As it says in the Gemara and Talmud, you can't burn it even. It won't even burn well. What could you do with it? All you can do with grape wood is plant grapes. And he was comparing us to grapes. Mamash, right after bringing Noah, it talks about the grapes immediately. And it's the same thing. The wood itself is useless. Is there any commerce that they do with grape wood? The wood of grape wood is useless. It's only the grapes. And that's probably why we're compared to grape wood. It's only what you make of it. It's only what you make of the vine. You plant grapes, and that's also what you do with the wine also. It's how you act it. It can go for good or go for bad. And so Noah, to me, he's focusing on these two types of trees that the wood is not able to be used. Olive wood seems like it's good wood, but you can't use it. And grape wood is bad wood, and you also can't use it. Only the products for the people that live in Israel. So what happens? Like I said Friday night. Noah, the Sfat Emet says, he didn't understand the world around him changed. Hashem changed. She's going upstairs. Hashem changed the whole world. Like we said in the Pirashah, after the Mabul, Hashem says to Noah, now there's winter, spring, summer, and fall. Before there was no winter, spring, summer, and fall. It was always spring. The Midrash says that Hashem pushed the axis of the world, and that we have the seasons because the world is tilted, the earth is tilted. It wasn't like that before Noah, before the Mabul. Hashem actually changed the earth. And so Hashem changed earth, and he told Noah, I'm making people weaker. You only have 120 years, if not less, to live. People are not going to, now they still live to 175, 147, but it's starting to decrease, no more 900 years. And I changed the world, and I made everybody weaker. And Noah didn't take the lesson. So Sfat Emet says, I said this Friday night, Sfat Emet says, what was Noah's mistake with the wine? Not that he was some drunk, that he drank so much wine in an irresponsible way. Says the Sifat Emet, Noah drank the same amount of wine that he drank for the first 600 years of his life. He always had the same amount of wine. It never did anything to him before. He didn't realize that Hashem changed the world. We're in a different world now. What used to be okay for you is not okay for you anymore. And I said, Rabbi Twersky says, we learn a very big lesson from here. Rabbi Dr. Twersky. Sometimes we get so stuck and we say to ourselves, I've done this my whole life. It never hurt me before. What's wrong with this? I watched movies my whole life. I always go to the movies my whole life as a kid. Every Saturday, every Sunday, I went to the movie with my parents. How did I come out? I came out good. And so what's the difference? It's the same thing now. Movies every Sunday. Like I said on Shabbat, when I was a kid, I used to ride my bike to the library every week. Went to the library down the block, look at all the books, read books, have a nice time every week. Don't do that now. What happened? Did I change? I didn't change. I'm the same guy. The world around you, Habib, the world around you changed. There's a mabul going on. You can't just say this. It's always worked for me. But the world changed. Noah, I'm having the same cup of wine. I always had the same amount. Noah didn't overdrink, says Fatima. Yeah, the same glass of wine he always had. Yeah, for the first 600 years of your life, the world was okay for you to drink this. Now you live in a different setting. You have to know the world you're in. You can no longer drink a cup of wine like that now, Noah. Now you have to have a half of a cup. And so understanding our settings and understanding how to adapt to the world around us, that was his mistake. And in a weird way, almost, Noah was, in my opinion, from this pshat, Noah is almost so focused on the future of we need to have the olives, we need to have the grapes, I need to make sure we have these two things. He completely lost track of his present. Where are you right now? What are you doing right now? Forget about the future. Forget about the first 600 years. Like both these things. Forget about the first 600 years. Forget about the future. Beautiful. You want to plant wine for the future. What about now? And it's very ironic, Akiva. What happens? According to Amshat, his son or his grandson comes in and castrates him and cuts off his future. You're so focused on the future, you have no more future. It's harsh. Either he was raped or he was castrated. He has no more future. Live in the present. Look at the present. Look at the world around you. What are you doing with wine? Yeah, but we need it for later because later on you should forget about it. What about now? And so maybe he was toggling between the past and the future. He wasn't enough in the present. Maybe that was Noah's mistake. And so therefore, the Gemara says you should have planted wheat. People need to live now. You need to start it now. Wheat, food, wheat. Yeah, but later on there's going to be a better. Forget about that. I mean, it's good. Once you handle the present, you can think about the future. You disagree, Akil? He paid a very heavy price for his future. Let me ask you, according to those who hold he was castrated, why did Hashem castrate? Why did Hashem cause his grandson to castrate him, of all things? To cut off. He can't have any more children. That's a punishment for something. You don't get castrated for no reason. Yeah, we have to understand. We have to try to put it. You can't castrate. That's true. You're not allowed to castrate. Even someone who has, even someone, huh? Someone who doesn't even have his body parts is not allowed to marry a Jewish woman, right? You can't marry a Jewish woman. Yeah, for sure connected. Yeah, and I'll add to that the Zohar says he was trying to do tikkun for the Etz Hadat because there's a question what the Etz Hadat was, whether it was figs or it was grapes. So the Zohar holds it was grapes. That's why he planted grapes. He lost his future. Yeah, same price. He was the new Adam. So he's trying to replay the whole story all over again, and he had a chance to do it better. And then who I was telling Yuvi, who remembers the whole thing I said 2 years ago, 3 years ago about Moshe Rabbeinu fixing Noah? Remember this? And then full circle, there was another chance. He had Adam Arishon, he had Noah, who was the new Adam, try to do things differently. And by the way, by Noah, you see Hashem almost throw the towel. So Hashem says to him, "Fine, eat animals." That's almost how it feels to me. Adam Arishon is vegetarian. Hashem says to Adam Arishon, "I give you all the grass. The grass is for you to eat. The herbs is for you to eat." He's vegetarian. There's one opinion that Adam Arishon was allowed to eat an animal that already died. Not forget shechita, the opposite of shechita. But how could you kill an animal? You can't kill something in creation. You're a vegetarian. Huh? He was the new Adam. I have never seen that he was a Gilgul of Adam, but the Arizal says Moshe Rabbeinu was the Gilgul of Adam, and the Arizal also says Moshe Rabbeinu was a spark of Noah. And what was the spark of Noah? Because Noah, I said this a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe, I don't know, a long time ago. I said Noah was supposed to try to save his whole world, his whole generation with him. Not like Ezekiel 14. Remember, look it up after. Ezekiel 14:14. Noah was supposed to save the whole generation, right? I told you this Friday night. And he didn't do it. Moshe Rabbeinu, he ended up taking everyone with him. Noah, it says, Vayimach et kol hayikum. Because Noah was there, Hashem erased all, he erased all the civilization. Men Noah, it says in the Pasuk. The waters of Noah, mah means to erase. Vayimach. Vayimahu. Later on, Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm done with these people. I'm killing all the Jewish people, and you're the only one coming with me. Another Noah. And he says, no. Meheni na mesifrecha. If you're going to do that, erase me from your book. Same word. Meheni na, meheni. Erase me. Which means, Hashem, if you're going to do that to me, you're going to make me another Noah. I'm not Noah. I'm taking everyone with me. And I told you, Yuvi, it says, Hashem says to Noah, I'm saving you because you're a Sadiq in this generation. What do you mean, this generation? So we know what everybody says. Bador Hazeh, Gematria Hazeh is 5, 5, and 7, which is 17. 17 generations after Noah was Moshe Rabbeinu. And so I see you're a Sadiq in generation 17. You're going to be a Sadiq. When you're Moshe Rabbeinu, you'll be a Sadiq. And Noah goes into the only 2 times in the whole Torah I get to see someone in a teva. Teva. Noah is in a teva. Moshe's mom, Yocheved, puts him in a teva. They're the same thing. Moshe, Mina Mayim Mishitiu. Look at Moshe's name. Ki Mina Mayim Mishitiu. Everybody asks this question. Why is Moshe called Moshe? Even Ezra asks, is Moshe an Egyptian word? Is it a Hebrew word? And if it's a Hebrew word, was Batya speaking Hebrew? It's kind of weird. Mishitiu means drawn out in Hebrew, but she was Egyptian. Was it translated over? Ibn Azar says, yeah, we translated it to Hebrew for us. Really, his name was different in Egyptian. Kiminamai Mishitiu, because from the water I pulled him. Which water? The water of Noah. I took it. And so we see here, Adam and Ishon had the first chance. Noah had the second chance. Moshe Rabbeinu had the final chance. He fixed it. He said, no, take me, everybody with me, or mehani now. But my little lesson that I think, and if you don't like it, tell me, from this Noah situation is it's very funny. First of all, this goes back to answer the first. I didn't answer one of the questions. This Mishe Para curse. What's the deal with this Mishe Para curse? You get a curse because you want to cancel your deal. You don't want to take the car that you paid for. You want to cancel it. You're like the generation of the Tower of Babel. So the last piece on this. The generation of the Tower of Babel, you're right. There was no Hamas. They were not cheating each other. Their problem was, now this is a little bit of a stretch also, I admit. Their problem was, the whole land was one language and one word. First of all, what's the difference language and words? What's the difference? Safa'ahat udbarim ahadim. One language and one word. The problem of the God of Pelaga was not only that they were one language per se, they were one talking point. They had the same opinion on everything, and they didn't tolerate differences of opinion. Safa, the lip, there's 2 words we use for language. Safa and Lashon. Lashon, tongue, is in the mouth. That's your opinion. Safa is just the lips, which means it's just lip talk. You're just lip service. You're speaking someone else's opinion. Safa, Had, they were just mirroring each other with Bali Mahadim, just one opinion. What was the violation of the Tower of Babel? There was no differences of opinion. Everyone had to fall in line. Even the Midrash says they were ruthless for the cause. They believed in one cause and any means necessary for the cause. The Midrash says Abraham Avinu walked by. He saw a person on the tower fall down from the tower and fall to his death. Everyone says, keep building. Keep building. Collateral damage. Keep building. A brick fell and they said, we lost the brick. They were so obsessed with their one goal. I'll tell you something very interesting. This is also I didn't see this anywhere. Where did this take place? Where did the Tower of Babel take place? There were people, Vayimseu Bik'ah, and they found a valley and they decided to do it there. That's your question. If you want to build the highest possible tower, Why don't you build it on a mountain? You're going to build it on a valley? You save yourself like 3 years of building. Why are they doing it in a big And why? And even if that's the case, why does the Torah have to tell us this? They went to a valley and they built a tower against it. What level of chutzpah? In my opinion, what level of chutzpah they have to Hashem? We're going to build a tower all the way to heaven. We don't want your mountains. We don't want a head start. We don't want nothing from you. We're going to do it all ourselves. We're going to find the lowest possible place and still go higher. Chutzpah. Devarim ahadim. One opinion is a big problem these days. And I don't want to get political, but just all I'm saying is this. Cast your vote, cast your allegiance with people who appreciate the diversity of opinions. That's all I want to say. Cast your allegiance with people who appreciate the fact that you may have your own opinions. And if you say one thing differently than the group's opinion, will they still accept you? If they will not accept you, guess what? That's a Tower of Babel. That's a Tower of Babel. I'm on the record. Vote for whoever you want to vote for, but just make sure the people who you're voting for appreciate your opinion, not just you appreciating their opinion. Otherwise, mishipara, that's the curse. The curse is you're just like them. Don't just fall in line. We're allowed to have our own opinions, and there are people out there who will let you have your own opinion. Right? There's one show that I like to watch in the background when I'm working on the Dave Ramsey show. You know the Dave Ramsey show? I love to listen to that show. You know what I'm talking about? He has like a money show. People call him with all these money questions and he gives advice. One person calls in and says, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend. We're about to get engaged after 4 years. I have bought the ring, and she just told me that if I don't vote for the person she believes in, she's leaving me. And so, so the person, the host of the thing says, let me guess which party your girlfriend likes. Why? It's not a coincidence. The Tower of Babel. And so Tuesday is a very important day. And so what are the takeaway lessons here? Just a couple, in my opinion. These were stretches because I didn't read them. I came sort of on my own, mostly. Number one, Noah was so focused on the future, and it's very nice that oil and grape, very nice, we need this for Yeshua. But what about now? What about now? And number two, don't be like the Tower of Babel. The curse here for someone who breaks his word is a double curse. Don't be like the people who break their words and curse and steal from each other. And also, don't be like those. So while we're giving the curse to someone, they throw the other one also. Don't be like that also. Don't just fall in line. Don't break your word. Don't fall in line. What should I do? Have your own opinion and stick to it. That's what you should have. Anyway, have a nice week. It should be a good result. And Yom Tov. I